Hello and welcome to another special interview by the Rafferty Mills Connection podcast. Allow me to introduce my next guest. He's truly one of a kind, having wrestled professionally since starting in 1969. My guest was a huge star in the WWF, which is now known as WWE, during the 1980s, wrestling in companies like All Japan, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and the original conception of the WWE, WWF, wrestling for Vince McMahon's father, Vince Sr. He's wrestled stars such as Roddy Piper, Don Muraco, Bob Backlund, and Jesse the Body Ventura, amongst others. For his achievements inside the ring, entertaining fans all across the world, he was inducted into WWE's Hall of Fame in 1996, and since then is recognized as a true legend in professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and pleasure to introduce none other than the Superfly, Jimmy Snuka. Jimmy, welcome to the Rafferty Mills Connection.
Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you having me on your radio dial, my brother.
No problem. Now, I guess my first question is, you recently stepped back into the ring at WrestleMania 25 to wrestle Chris Jericho, along with Roddy Piper and Ricky Steamboat. How did that all come about? And looking back, did you enjoy the experience?
Brother, I loved it. It was a great pleasure to be in WrestleMania 25. And, I guess I was the oldest guy that was in the WrestleMania, of the age of 66, 65. And, brother, I loved it so much, being with them kids and, just to be at WrestleMania 25, it was a great blessing for me.
Did you enjoy wrestling Chris Jericho?
I enjoy every one of them, brother, the whole game.
Brilliant. Who are some of your influences in the wrestling business growing up?
Actually, I was living in Hawaii at the time, and, I was, brought up with the old school guys, and I don't know if the guys who can remember any of these names, but, I was training to get into professional wrestling, and, mostly in Hawaii we was at, there was a gym they called Powerhouse. Was owned by a Chinese Hawaiian boy. His name was Dean Noguchi, and he was a professional wrestler. And I was training at his gym, and mostly all the wrestlers come from the mainland to wrestle in Hawaii for like a couple of weeks, and they go to Japan. And after Japan, they come back to Hawaii and finish off their program and go back to the States. So at the meantime, I've been training there, and they wanted me to get into wrestling in 1976, somewhere around there. And, I just loved the guys that keep coming by and everything, and so they wanted me to start training, and I started training, and it just boils down to that. I got involved in working out in the gym and meeting all these professionals that all come from the mainland. And, brother, they were pushing me like they're turning around and tell, Dean Noguchi, he said, "Who's that kid over there?" And I told them, "Oh, that's Jimmy Snuka." And they said, "Man, that's the kind of guy we need, And, brother, it all worked out so perfect that I told him, I said, "Brother, I gotta win this Mr. Hawaiian Island first, before I can get in." But at the meantime, I was training as I went along, and I did win Mr. Hawaiian Islands in 1970. And from then on, I continue on doing my training, and that's how everything started out for me, brother.
You said you did some bodybuilding. Was it easy to transition between bodybuilding and wrestling?
Brother, you just got to take care of yourself in wrestling. Bodybuilding, you don't get hurt. The weights don't, make a comeback on you, and but wrestling is a very tough sport. You got to really know what you're doing. You got to have the psychology of the business, and how it goes and everything. And I mean, that's one thing. When I got into it, I had to make sure that who I'm wrestling and everything, because I was brought up with these professional, old school way of wrestling, It was tough. It was hard for me. And when I got into professional wrestling, I made sure that, every contact is, you know, contact with each other and everything else, but make sure that nobody gets hurt. This is about going and supporting yourself and your family, and you don't want to get hurt, brother. And the most thing that I loved about it is that when I got in it, I mean, I wrestle against fantastic guys all over the world, and my whole life is just living in this world, enjoying my beautiful career, and it took me wherever this world goes around. Superfly went fly there too, brother.
What was one of the hardest things training to wrestle? Was it the psychology side of it, or was it the moves?
Well, the moves are there, but you got to understand that you got to know everything that's called. The holds, the headlock, the takedowns, the leg lock, all these things. You got to, it's a totally different college, brother. And, you have to be ready for what you do. And, and the reason that why I loved it is because, it's a great, things for me to do and educate, the kids that are all coming behind me. And I loved it, brother. And, I'm a trademark, and, for the kids, for their future, and we just out there trying to take care of our job and take care of the companies that you work for, and make sure that everything is done right.
Is psychology something that you can learn, or is it something that you really have to have a talent for, the connection with the audience?
Those that just getting into the business will learn it as they go along. I mean, you can learn all the holds and wrestling and everything, but if you don't have the timing and the psychology with it, and when not to do things, then everything will be all right, brother.
How did you come up with the idea for your character?
I was born in the Fiji Islands, and raised up in this world, all over the world. And I used to be a cliff diver, brother. And when I got into professional wrestling, I never seen anybody do it. So I just thought, I said, I'm going to give these people something new, And, brother, the first time I did it was in Portland, Oregon. And that's where I first started. And then everything just clicked off for me, brother.
When you were wrestling back in the 1980s, I mean, when you first started with NWA and going off to Japan, was it difficult to try and maintain your physique due to like the tough road schedule that wrestling has?
Well, I always been that kind of type of guy that loves every kind of sport. I played all kind of sports. And for me, I wanted to be different because I am different. And at the time when I came in, I was, I just won my contest, brother. And, I turned into a certain character because I am a different character. And, I loved it, and this is my life, and I'm still doing it, and brother, and I love it, and as long as I'm, good to the Lord and everything, I'm sure I'll have a return, as I do good things,
At any stage in your career when you were in the WWF, or just generally wrestling, were you approached by WCW?
The WCW is, that was, when I won the World Heavyweight Champion there, I was there at first, going back and forth to Vincent and everything. And, brother, I love it all. It didn't matter who I, went and worked for and everything. As long as I've been taken care of good and, the promoters are honest with you and you're honest with them, and everything will be lovely.